These last 4 weeks have taught many Nigerians to adjust their lifestyles in order to survive. Aftermath of the federal government's removal of petrol subsidy as announced by President Bola Tinubu on his inauguration day crushed citizens' purchasing power. How has Nigerians been dealing with this new reality? News Center's Bettina Nweli tells us more.
According to history, fuel subsidy began in the 1970s and was later institutionalized in 1977 following the promulgation of the Price Control Act, which made it illegal for petrol to be sold above the regulated prices. Years later, this became a major drain on government finances, leading to significant fiscal deficits and a strain on the country's budget.
When there is subsidy, they can cut the price at any time, inflate the price, 800, 1,000 to Aja. But now, they cannot be, as they remove the subsidy, everything is 500. When they are coming, 500, when they are going, 500.
For an example, if you want to buy fuel, some filling stations they sell 510, 550 per liter. Some they sell 490 per liter. Some they sell 500, 5 naira. So before we dey carry aja 500, but now where this thing happen now, you know I no even see changing of say dem comot subsidy. Now still the 500 wey we dey carry.
Previous administrations have attempted to remove subsidies because of its huge burden on the nation's economy, but such attempts have been resisted by protest and public outcry.
I would say even the transport alone is like double of what we were taking before. Like just from the mainland to the islands, really like double of the transport we're taking before. So except for those that takes the BRT, it's a bit cheaper for them. But public transport, and there's nothing you can say about that. There's nothing. There's no pricing. There's nothing. Just
the prices of things has gone up. Salary has not increased. So it has a spillage effect on every strata of the economy individually.
Following the announcement of the removal of petrol subsidy by the president on May 29,
the fresh subsidy is gone.
The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) had threatened to shut down the country's economy by embarking on industrial action. However, on June 5, the NLC announced the suspension of its planned strike after a series of meetings with the federal government. Despite all these, Nigerians have been reeling under the impact of the current fuel price regime and its effects on other sectors of the economy.
Ó affects business o, torí àwọn èèyàn wọn fi bẹ́ẹ̀ rajà bó ṣe yẹ kán rajà, because ẹlòmíì ò máa ní owó mọ́tò ló wà lọ́wọ́ òun, ẹlòmíì tó ti ń rajà bí 1,000 tẹ́lẹ̀ tí pàṣípàá ló máa fi ra 500. Ó really affects business gan, torí àwọn èèyàn kọ́ tó láwọn ra anything wọ́n á kọ́kọ́ wo àpò wọn náà, wọ́n máa try láti wá owó mọ́tò, so wọ́n fi taratara rajà.
With the increase in fuel price leading to increase in food prices and a rise in the general cost of living, Nigerians are hoping those at the helm of the country's affairs will step up remedial efforts to alleviate the impact on the masses. Bettina Nweli, reporting for News Central.
To discuss this further, we are joined by rights activist Achike Chude. Mr. Chude, thank you very much for giving us your time. Prices have gone up. Salaries remain the same. We are not hearing about palliatives. How severely do you think this removal is affecting Nigerians 4 weeks on?
Well, I think I was watching your interview with some Nigerians, obviously, and the issues are very, very clear. Things are exceedingly difficult. So if you're talking about, rising inflation, increasing cost of, basic food items, and commodity prices, obviously, and then you're talking about non-improvement in the, income of Nigerians. What that translates to naturally as a result, as a consequence, is diminished quality of life. So it's clear to tell you that the quality of Nigerians or the lives of Nigerians have reduced drastically. Obviously, before now, we were talking about 103 million Nigerians in multidimensional poverty. That declaration was made about over a year ago. So within that time that declaration was made till now, we could safely say that about 145 to 150 million Nigerians are living in multidimensional poverty. And so when you now remove this subsidy that affects every other aspect of our national life, then you can imagine how horrendous life would be for a lot of Nigerians. And so what you are hearing, you're seeing on the street is constant lamentation. People are not able to carry out basic social responsibilities on behalf of their families. And then that has been a major issue. Look, I think what should have been of interest or should be of interest to any government is the issue of food. And for a lot of countries that we like to talk about all the time, emulate Europe and the United States, food is of strategic national importance. That is why no matter what happens in a country or in those countries, they always ensure that there is some level of subsidy that is granted to farmers so that they can continue to remain in operation to produce enough food.
Just to interject, because we really need to get to the point where we talk about how Nigerians can survive. Lamentation is everywhere. It's been 4 weeks. A benefit of doubt was given to the president when he came on, since he was just repeating what was the status quo. 4 weeks, one would expect that some sort of arrangement, some plan, some strategy would have been rolled out to show Nigerians that this new administration is indeed working to see that the impact of the fuel subsidy removal is cushioned on them. Are you still expecting, or are you surprised that we haven't seemingly heard anything concrete from the government in this regard?
I'm not exactly surprised, because people are talking about the government officials talk about removal of subsidy, and they talk about sacrifices that we need to make. I was watching the president yesterday, and he was saying the same thing, and then I think one of the advisors, I think Hadiza Usman was talking about the necessity for Nigerians to go through this suffering. And she said it in a way that was not, empathetic. And so the fact that the government officials are still living lives of opulence, obscene opulence, the fact that they are still, hanging on to their privileges, which in most cases are morally not justifiable. We are talking of senators that are earning as much as 60 million naira, and governors, the president, ministers, and all of that. And then there was this speculation about 114% increase by the revenue mobilization and fiscal allocation commission, and that tells you that there is a dissonance seriously between what the government is seeing and what Nigerians are living through on a daily basis. So,
but should that be? This is a new administration that came on the premise that they renewed hope, basically. It's been 4 weeks. My question remains as to where do you see this government taking this matter to? Are they going to address it in a way that Nigerians will respond to?
I cannot speak about the government and what the government intends to do. What we see is what we know. So they made promises to the Nigerian people. Ours is to put them under pressure to fulfill the promises they made. It's as simple as that. The president himself said yes, that we shouldn't feel sorry for him because he was the one that asked for the job. And so he's been given the job. All he needs to do is to deliver. It's as simple as that. Now, how are they going to deliver? Of course, 1 month down the line, there's nothing like palliatives, like you have said. It just shows, again, like I said, there's this constant disconnection between those who govern us and the ordinary people. When they say make these sacrifices, they actually believe that the people are in a position to make sacrifices. How much more sacrifices can Nigerians make? Nigerians are barely surviving. And so you can find out that, yes, how have they been able to survive during this period? They have had to cut costs. Some of those things that they considered important before are no longer as important as they should be under normal circumstances. When they have issues like maybe critical, medical conditions, they can't go to the hospitals. So they go to quacks, they go to traditional practitioners and all of that because they do not have money to go to a private
but there aside from the government, even if the government is maybe not getting it right, they're still missing the point. There are groups that are supposed to be speaking for the people. The Nigeria Labour Congress, for instance, the Trade Union Congress.
I don't know.
We know that. Just give me a second. Let me land. Let me land.
Good.
The groups actually had a meeting with the government. They suspended a planned strike because they're having conversation. What we know at the moment is that there was a deadlock with that conversation. So what other moves do you expect to see if these people, it looks like there's been some silence, there's been no comment?
Well,
how do Nigerians manage?
Well, it appears that it is the media that is not getting it right, because it is not the responsibility and duty of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the TUC to speak on behalf of Nigerians. Their responsibility is primarily to their workers, not to the Nigerian people.
Yes, so but at least there is a population that they are responsible for. They are responsible to speak up, but they seem to be quiet.
A very insignificant population compared to the population of the country. And that's why we're not getting it right. That's why we're not able to hold politicians accountable, because we keep on looking up to Labour to speak for us. We keep on looking up to Labour to do what the people themselves should be doing. That is not the way it is done. In every country where you have changes, it is not the Labour that drives the process for change. It is the people themselves. It is Labour ultimately at the end of the day jumps on the top the coattails of the people, and they join them in their revolutionary action. But it is not that the people will look up to Labour and say, look, we need these people to come and deliver us. That's why when Labour reneges, when Labour seems to disappoint the people go away. I mean, go away in frustration, because that's the mistake they're making, putting all their hopes in organized Labour. They have a more primary responsibility to their members.
Mr. Achike, Chude, I'm afraid that's the much time will permit us on this conversation. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.